you said you've stayed off of social media. You haven't even heard. Have you heard it? Hey, listen. A lot of people got ideas about your contract, me included, boys as well.
Yep.
Have you heard any of this? Have you heard any of the conversation about what's going on with contracts? Your contract is a topic of conversation in a lot of places because you're Aaron fucking Rodgers. Have you heard a lot of this? And what are your kind of thoughts on, the speculation of your future at this point and where we're at right now on April 5th, 2021?
Well, look, I mean, I'm not insulated completely from all those conversations. I think part of it is you have to have some understanding of what's going on out there. I think that we're exactly where we were last year when I made comments after the draft and throughout the season. I don't feel like any of that's changed. Even my comments directly after the last game, there was some, and we talked about it on this show.
Yeah.
Some people who thought, who made assumptions based on what I said. Nothing's really changed. My future is really, a lot of it's out of my control. That's why I mentioned using words like a phrase like beautiful mystery, because it is quite uncertain which directions that things are going to go. All I can do is play my best, and I feel like last year I did do that, and may have thrown a wrench into some timelines that may have been thought about or desired, but ultimately, things haven't really changed on that front. I meant what I said last year, about really being at peace with the whole thing, and that hasn't changed. I feel good about the way I played. Feel good about the way I led. I loved, our interactions and everything that this show provided for me last year, and I think people got a raw look at. Honest conversation about the future, and someone who's not bitter or disappointed or frustrated about things that they realize they can't control. And my future is one of them, and I'm kind of surrendered to what's going to happen, and just confident in what I bring to the table and how I played last year, and everything else is kind of for speculation, and I'm sure there'll be plenty of it.
I think you said the draft and what happened and everything like that. It almost gave you like a reimagine at how you view everything, because it's not what happens, it's how you react to it. And I think you said you came to peace, like, okay, this is very much out of my control, and it almost set you in maybe a new direction mentally. I don't want to be speaking for you in this whole thing, but now that the conversation is back in the same place where it was after the draft, basically, like, there's a chance that the Green Bay Packers just a few years from now are not going to have Aaron Rodgers as quarterback, after you had said you would want to be a Green Bay Packer for the rest of your career. And you say you're not bitter at all. That's interesting to me, because I don't know how you do it, because I would, if I'm Aaron Rodgers, and this is that mental path that you went on is something that I don't think I could ever do, because I'm just a stubborn prick, you know what I mean? Like that, but like that, the ability to get to peace there is one I don't think a lot of people could do, and I think that is why it's so befuddling to people. They're like, no, that can't be real. That can't be how he actually feels. But every time I've talked to you live, and it feels like you're very much at peace with, like, hey, whatever happens, happens here.
Well, and I've said this before, the draft was actually not the moment of change. The change was before that. The perspective adjustments and the course corrections with my own life, personal life, headspace, those happened before that. And the draft was just an opportunity for those to play out in real time, where I had an opportunity to respond using the tools that I've tried to cultivate and the habits that I was trying to form and adjust in real time. And so I got a great opportunity to show where I was at mentally, and to grow, and to just be myself, in this new, hopefully improved version, content, at peace, not bitter, not a victim mentality. And I think that was what gave me the opportunity. So I'm thankful for that moment. At the same time, just like I've just always kind of spoken the truth and been honest about my opinions about where things are at, and understanding that with that pick, that did take my future to a sense out of my control, and I came to peace with that. But I think, look, for you personally, and watching you you made a decision that was in your best interest, right? You basically retired from football. I know you had some injuries and stuff, but you took a leap of faith, right? And you did it with confidence, and
Ignorance.
you obviously surrounded yourself with great people, but it's one that's paid off, right?
Yeah,
you made a risky to many people, but to you it made sense. For me, that's how I approach things mentally. I wanted to make changes and to step into a different headspace. One that I thought would be a lot more positive and healthy for me moving forward. And so that's why when things happened, it wasn't things happening to me. It was things happening around me. I wasn't a victim of circumstances. I wasn't a victim of things happening to me. I was just a part of a process of events unfolding. But at the same time, it doesn't mean I can't be honest about how I thought those events would affect my future in Green Bay. And I said what I said last year, and it's still a reality, and that really hasn't changed.
Have you had a chance to chat with Mr. Murphy at all? Because his clip last week of saying, because Rob Boras, shout out Rob, by the way, he's watching right now. Shout out Rob. Can't come on the show, ESPN, obviously. But I've never met you either, but shout out Rob Boras. He asked the question to Murphy about the contract, and Mark Murphy was so quick, I can't talk about that, okay? And he was like, good try though, Rob. As if that was like a gotcha question, which I don't think Rob thought that was a gotcha question. I think a lot of us thought that was something that was going to potentially happen. Hey, now I know business people handle business people and you do your thing, but has there been any business conversations by you and your people, or has that been something that you kind of stay out of?
Yeah. Did you have a Bob Demoski quota to hit there? Is that why you had to say his name?
No, it's a good name to say if you got a Pittsburgh accent. You know what I mean? Yeah. Bob Demoski. I mean, it's a good name. You know what I mean? Like it's a good Demar. Shout out Bob Demoski.
I got to have a conversation with Bob a few days ago, mostly about Jeopardy, which was great. That was a fun one, and I've worked with Bob for a long time. Look, I think this is a time of year where there's not a lot going on. And,
you're telling me
want stories. I think you look at the last couple years. A couple years ago, it was big story was Matt weren't going to be able to get along, and there was conjecture about everything that has to do with where he was as a coach, where I was as a player, and blah blah blah. And, just a lot of mumbo jumbo in the end that didn't really do anything. Last year, obviously after the draft, a lot of conversation about things, and that's just the way kind of the cycle goes. There's always going to be conjecture about certain things. This is a slow time, other than tonight with, my Jeopardy and the national championship, there's kind of a slow time for sports.
You don't say.
And still going on the playoffs yet. Baseball's just getting going, but let's be honest, the long season baseball, and you might watch the beginning, but maybe not a whole lot till the end of the playoffs. So there's not a lot going on. So this is one of the topics that people want to talk about. Obviously, there's talk about my contract and redoing it to get under a salary cap. Those conversations that I'm sure are ongoing or talked about from time to time. I don't have any updates that from my side, so there's really not a story there.
You know what though? The thing about it was you and LaFleur did hate each other.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God! I remember that.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, you guys. Oh. Dude, Aaron didn't hire him, so Aaron hates him.
Yeah.
That was the entire conversation at that point. It's nice to know, though, that just like everything else, basically in your life, it's been blown completely out of proportion.